Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's session, we are going to learn how you can create a tabbed form in Power Apps. So consider a scenario where your SharePoint list is having 50 columns and you want to represent those 50 columns to users so that they can input the data. So it would be very difficult for them to view the form entirely in one screen itself. So the solution could be we can create a tabbed this form, and every tab would contain few set of columns, and it would be very easy for users to fill out those lengthy forms. So I've created one partner list form to demo that out to you. If I click on new, it is having around 10 to 12 columns, but still looks like a bit lengthy. So we need to make a scroll to go to the end of these columns. So the same form we are going to customize in Power Apps so that it can be represented in tabs, and it could be from UI perspective, it could be a right way to fill out the details. So now I will customize the form from here itself, customize forms. So now I got my form open in this Power App. Now I'll just simply add all the fields which I want. So I'll just click on add fields and keep on checking whatever fields I would like to have in this form. So I want all these business fields. And I'll just click on add. So I got all my fields added to this form, and now I'll just snap to the columns. Not snap to the columns, actually I'll change the layout to represent two columns and in a vertical fashion. So you can keep it horizontal as well to represent it more like a form. So that's how you can keep it. Now, as I said, that I'll be creating tabs in this form so that we can have one tab can have a couple of fields, the other can have other set of fields. So I'll just move this form a bit down so that I can have space for having tabs, and I'll just zoom it out so that I can show you that properly. So now you can see I have that top space where I would be adding header for this form, and as well as the tabs. So I'll just go to the insert label, and I'll just move that label up bit top so that I can say what this form name is. I'll just say partner form. And we'll just provide some background so that it should be look like a header. And increase the font size. Alright. Font weight I'll just say bold because it's a heading. So now the other part is to create tabs. So I'll add one more label which can work as a background for those tabs, and I'll just move this label a bit down, and again provide the background for this so that we can distinguish between the tabs. And I'll just give a light background and remove the text heading because we don't want this to have anything. This will just work as a background for my tab buttons. Now the next step would be adding buttons. I'll just add one button, and in this button I'll just keep on this label which we created in previous tab, and now I'll start giving the styles to this button so that it can look like a tab. So first thing is I would give the round corners to it so that it can have the curly corner and look like a tab. So I'll just give a round corner to 10. So now it's having this round corners, and again I'll change the heading for this as tab 1. And now because this label I have to like move it front, so I'll just reorder it to make it, to bring it forward so that it can trip off this button. Now it looks like a tab, but the text is a bit trimmed off, so I'll just move the alignment of this button so that it can show the text clearly. I'll just move the alignment, the vertical alignment. This vertical alignment is top. Now it looks like a tab. I'll just move this label a bit down again so that it can clearly be visible. Now I'll just provide the few settings to this tab so that it can work in the expected way. So I'll just go to the, first of all, on select of this button, what should be done. So on select, I'll just set up one variable, and that variable will keep the value for this selected tab. So I'll just set variable, let's say variable tab, and I'll set up the value as tab 1. So whenever this button would click, then this variable where tab would be set up with the tab 1 value. And the same thing, because I want this tab to be defaultly selected, so I'll just go to this app setting, and on start I'll set up this variable again, so that whenever this form would be launched, then the default tab would be always tab 1. So now I'll come to the visibility setting, not the visibility but the display setting of this button, so that whenever a person is clicking this button should get disabled, because if we are already selecting this tab, then this should be grayed out and other tabs should be visible. So I'll just go to the display mode, and instead of edit, I'll add up one condition. If my variable tab equal to tab 1, then it should be disabled, otherwise it should be added. A simple condition I have added. So whenever this button would be clicked, this would be disabled and other button would be enabled. And I'm just setting this up. Now we are done with this tab settings. Now I want more tabs to be involved in this screen. So I'm just copying this tab because we already did the setting for this button. So we can just copy and paste it so that we can use this for the other tabs. So you need to just be cautious with the UI of this app controls and the distancing. I'm just moving the other button as well. So right now I'll just do with 3 buttons. Alright, so now I'll just change the text for this at tab 2, and this is tab 3, and I'll change the variable on select variable as well, because whenever this tab would be clicked, this should set the variable as tab 2, and whenever this tab 3 is clicked, it should set the variable as tab 3. And I'll just move this control the label again forward so that it can trim the text. Now I'll do the alignment for it, vertical alignment, as we did for the other one. Okay, so it's already top because it actually got the settings from the copied tab. I'll just move them a bit. Now these are properly aligned, and of course the spacing you can set it up based on your requirement. So now I'll just go to the tab 2 to set up the variable. So I think like we have already done that. Let's just quickly verify. So we have already done that. We need to just go to the display setting, display mode of it, to change the formula. So whenever this tab 2 variable is having tab 2, then it should disable it, otherwise it should keep in edit mode. And the same thing we are going to do for this tab 3. We'll just find out the display setting, display mode, and if this tab variable is 3, then it should disable the tab 3. Now comes the part where what fields we would like to belong to tab 1. So whenever a person clicks on tab 1, what field should be displayed. So for that, we'll be just selecting the field. So for example, I have selected this title data card, and I'll just go to the visible setting of it. So by default it's true, but now we are going to change that to the var tab, so that whatever var tab is returning, it should set to the visibility. So instead of true, I'll set up the condition which should return true or false. So what I'll do is I'll just use the variable tab, and if it's equal to tab 1, I need to check what we have set on select. It's tab 1 without space, then we should be just setting the visibility of this control to tab 1. So we just did for title, but because this title we lost it due to visibility settings, so I'll just remove the spaces. So we are all done. So in this again, I would like to have this var tab. If var tab equal to tab 1, then it should visible, otherwise it should be hidden. And same thing for address, var tab equal to tab 1, otherwise it should be hidden. Next set of these fields I want to be under the tab 2. So I'll just select the approver field, and I'll go to the visibility and change the visibility when var tab equal to 2. So I'll just go to the visibility and var tab equal to 2. And I'll do the rest of the stuff for remaining controls as well. Var tab equal to visibility 2. And now this one is for tab 3, so I'll just set the visibility for the var tab 3, so that this finance related stuff should be visible under the tab 3. I'm just setting that as tab 3. This name should be under my tab 1, so I'll set the visibility for tab 1. And point of contact, so this point of contact person, you can just set up the visibility or the wrapping on this so that it's not visible. You can just go down and then wrap it off because it's having long this title caption. So you can just do that for long labels as well, so that it can just wrap it up. So for this point of contact, I'm setting the visibility for tab 3, and the total cost I'm setting again for the tab 3. Trigger, what is that? Trigger column, trigger windows. I think like we don't need that column, so that's how we can set it up. And under this wrap tab, why it's not hidden? Because we by mistake we set that for height, but we need to do that for visibility. Right, so right now you can see all the tabs are having nothing. And why that's so? Because by default this variable is not set up, and as I did in the starting session, that we set it up the variable tab as tab 1 by default. So now you can save it, and now you go to the publish to SharePoint. I'm just opening that list, and I need to refresh the list, and if I click on new, it should load up that form. Yep, so now you can see we have this header, we have this tab 1 as disabled because by default the fields related to this tab 1 are visible: title, partner name, address, all this. And if I click on tab 2, then it displays the another set of fields, which is, though like it's trimmed off because we did not bother about the UI, but this approved by, this contractor's name and the contractor's detail. And the tab 3, we have the fields related to the finance, point of contact, point of the total contract cost, and a finance point of contact. So this is how you can create this tabbed forms, and you can split out your lengthy fields in these sections, and could be handy for users to fill it out. Otherwise, in all the fields in a single form would have like a lot of scroll for them and could be confusing as well. So I hope this could add a value add to your this Power Apps knowledge, and you may use this concept while creating some real-time applications. That's it for now. Thank you.